I'm Nikki, Doctor of Physical Therapy at Greencastle Physical Therapy in good old Greencastle, Pennsylvania. I have my assistant Kelsey with me here today. We are going to be going over an exercise called step-ups, which is fun because that is something that often we do every single day. So the reason we're focusing on the step-up is because it is very functional. We do it often. And we want to make sure that we're doing it in a way that maximizes our ability to use our body to its full advantage. So we want to make sure, it's not that we're doing things wrong, it's just that we can change this exercise to allow us to engage certain areas, keep joints safe, and keep our body healthy. So from this angle, we're going to have Kelsey step up with her right foot here. From the front, the things that we focus on about this exercise have to do with the alignment of our body over our foot and over our knee. So whenever we go to step up, the biggest thing we want to prevent is we want to prevent that knee from buckling in like that. That is very common, and it's actually one of the #1 contributors to knee pain and knee problems. Usually what that means is that we have lost control or strength in the hip. So we want to make sure we keep that knee pulled out. A lot of times I'll either use my hand to show people or tell them to imagine like you're pushing your hand out into a wall. It's not going to flare out. It's just going to give a little bit of pressure to allow us to engage a little bit more in the hip as we step up. Another thing that it can do is it actually helps our ankle to stay in a good position. A lot of people have trouble where their ankle drops in, that knee buckles in, you get that flat foot going on at that ankle. So we want to pull that knee out, let that arch lift up, and engage through the hip as we go in this position. And then when we step up here, we make sure that we're not leaning too far this way. Everything kind of stays stacked over top of each other. And then as we step back, same thing. Imagine like you're pushing out into that wall. Go nice and slow. The lowering is just as important as the lifting. Keeping that knee in good alignment. Now we're going to shift this around to the side here to get a slightly different ankle. So whenever we do this, there's different ways that we can do it for. So we can isolate and really ask this exercise to involve more the ankle, more the knee, or more the hip. So we're going to step up with this right foot here. So we'll start at the ankle since it's the bottom. What we often don't want to do, for the most part, when we do an exercise or every day do step-ups, is we don't necessarily want that knee coming over those toes. When we isolate the ankle here, as long as everything else is safe and healthy, we actually do ask that knee to come a little farther forward. You can keep going, keep going, keep going. Again, not always what we want to get the rest of the muscles working, but if we're isolating the ankle, we are asking it to move in that full range of motion so that when we step up, as long as that knee is pulled out, we step up, and we allow the ankle to really work. So our weight is back towards our heel, we step back, allow that knee to come far forward, and we really are getting that full excursion of motion that's happening at that ankle, which is really healthy if our ankle has problems. So, moving up to the next joint. Then we involve our knee. If we just step right back, again, that knee comes forward a little bit. Now we're not going to go over those toes because that really can increase the stress at the front of the knee. If you have any kind of knee pain or knee problems, we don't want that knee coming too far forward. It is going to increase that stress. So we just kind of don't step back quite as far. So we step back right beyond there. Move that back foot up a little bit. Yep. And then we're going to wait through our heel. We're going to try and press up through that heel, still keeping that knee pulled out a little bit. So the hip, ideally, is still getting involved in this exercise. And then we step back, not very far, just seeing if we can get the muscles around that knee to work for us. Now, moving up another joint. As we step farther back, we have to start sitting into the hip itself. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to sit back and have you get some. We don't want to sit back and get a lot of rounding in that low back. That's going to hurt your back over a long period of time. Maybe not right away, but eventually. So we want to tip that pelvis forward, really sit the sit bone in that cheek straight back. I would take a nice long step back there. And then now we keep that hip tucked in, knee pulled out just a little bit, and we push up using that glute to get us lifted up onto the step. If everything is working well together, it is all working well and effectively in order to propel us upstairs, up curbs, even to get in and out of vehicles, in and out of bed. Go ahead and step back again here. Again, sitting into that hip, that nice big step back allows us to really get that hip nice and open and ask those muscles to work to lift us up, and then sit back. I'm going to let her go through a couple of repetitions here. Making sure that the knee is pulling out, we're engaging the glute as we lift. Again, smaller steps, engage the knee a little bit more. Bigger steps allow the glute to pick us up. Big thing to pay attention to, as she steps farther back, do not push off the back foot. Our body is incredibly resourceful and it will compensate if it needs to. So we don't want to push off of this opposite foot. We want to honestly, you can keep as little weight as possible on this back foot to make sure that you're not compensating. We'll do about 3 sets of 10 potentially. So this one can be modified. This one can be modified to do however your body needs it. So if 5 of these are a challenge for you, do 5. Just focus on the intention and the positioning that you're doing them with. That way we really can allow everything in that area to work together. If we can do more, 3 sets of 10 is great. If you can increase the step height, increase the step height. We can hold on, it just allows us to focus more on strengthening the muscles and less on balance. If you want to make it a balance challenge, get rid of your hands. So it's an easily modifiable exercise so that we can challenge our body to make everyday life just a little bit easier.